seeing that heading right now might seem like it's all too good to be true. Well, for Veronica, one of our clients, she literally started with us just over 6.5 weeks ago, and she's already doubled her business. I'm going to show you exactly how in the next 8 minutes right after this. So 6.5 weeks might sound like it's way too good to be true, but it's certainly not. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how Veronica has gone and done that in a very short period of time. So let me just frame this up a little bit so you have a better understanding of who she is, her exact situation. She's an allied health professional. She's based in Sydney, and she's a sole trader doing some really cool things. Now, she's already got a great business model, a great ethos. She doesn't have a huge amount of business acumen, which is why she came to us to sort of basically say, look, I don't know what I don't know. I'm sick of actually crying myself to sleep multiple nights when she didn't really need to be totally honest. She was really busy. And she had a business that was literally probably only 10 to 15% short of a six-figure business. Now, when you're only quite young, you've only just started out in your own business, and you're sort of pushing fairly decently towards being a sole trader in a 6 to 8 month period, doing close to 100,000 as a business, you should be pretty damn pleased as a good starting point, right? So there was no need for her to be crying herself to sleep to start with. But let me just explain one of the biggest challenges that we had. There was probably 3 that we had to work with. One of the first ones was that she was feeling like she was always chasing a tail. She always felt like she was in a situation where she was discharging that old chestnut, right? She was discharging people after 2 or 3 sessions. Now, fundamentally, she knew that wasn't the best way for a business to grow as such, but she still felt like she was in that academically pushed approach, or pushed from other places like private health funds, etc., that you've got to discharge a client early, because the sooner you discharge them, then the sooner, the better practitioner you actually are, which we actually know is fundamentally wrong. Because if you actually discharge someone after 3 sessions, yes, you save the shareholders of a private health company money, but ultimately, were you able to provide the full outcome of what that client wants? Now, keep in mind here that clients don't come to you with, say, back pain because they want to get rid of back pain. There's always an underlying real reason, the emotional reason, the emotive connection to some other output, an outcome that they actually want. They are a 62-year-old who's got a grandson that's 6 months old starting to crawl, and they can't get down onto the ground to actually play with little Jimmy, their grandson. And as a net result, it's not the pain that they're trying to get rid of, even though they might say that up front. It's the fact they want to get down on the ground and help with little Jimmy and play with little Jimmy, right? That's the emotional connection and the emotional hook that's really the driver in this situation. So for Veronica, and as you probably are aware now, that's not her real name. I needed to make sure that I used someone else's real name so I didn't polarize someone here. Because she was a little bit embarrassed that she had quite a few nights were crying herself to sleep. And I totally get that, right? So protect with anonymity, right? Veronica, amazing. She's doing fantastic. She wasn't actually doing any marketing. So she had a very strong business that was getting her very busy, seeing a lot of clients, all through word of mouth from the outcomes that she was delivering. So she's obviously a great practitioner to have a great word of mouth in a very short period of time, having a lot of clients come through with no marketing, no structured marketing, no even ad hoc. It was just literally the phone would ring or she'd get an email, which is pretty damn good to start with. But it's also dangerous. We don't want to rely on hopium as a way to actually build our business either. And she obviously wanted more stability in her journey to be able to predict her growth, know when clients are coming in, what type of clients she's seeing, and being able to get a better return on investment for her time and effort, and be able to bring on team members and start to build a company and a team that's got a great culture and has a massive amount of impact. So we had those 3 big challenges that we needed to work with. Now, fundamentally, there was one big thing that I wanted to be able to do from the very start, and that was implement one of our trademarked models from about 7 or 8 years ago called the patient pipeline. And by bringing in that patient pipeline, it's an easy 5-step process that shows exactly what to say and what to do in each consult, particularly in that first consult, in that initial assessment, to be able to fundamentally get clients to understand their journey and their pathway. Now, here's the thing. If you're able to take someone to, in an initial assessment, and make sure they understand what they need to be doing, what they could be doing, what they should be doing, how you're going to be able to help, and you can actually take them from X, which is where they are now, to Y, which is the finish line, and they can actually see that finish line, we can actually reverse engineer that process comfortably. We can put 3 or 4 or maybe 5 steps in place for them to fundamentally see that progress. It's exactly what we do with macro cycles for athletes. They don't just turn up and go, I'm going to go to the Olympics next week. They work this 3 or 4 years out. Some of the best athletes work 4-year cycles from one Olympics to the next. And they have macro cycles, what World Championship, what Commonwealth Games, what Diamond League meets, etc. And they reverse engineer this all the way down to exactly what they're going to do, how they're going to do it for each quarter, each month, each week, each day. What time of the day are they going to the gym? When are they going to be eating? When are they seeing the physio? What are they drinking before a session? When they go to the track in the afternoon and they're running, are they doing plyometrics? Are they doing sprints? Are they doing anaerobic threshold? There's so much complexity, but ultimately you can't see that end journey originally and it's too overwhelming. But if you can take them through a very simplified 3 or maybe 4-step process, here's where you're at, here's where you need to be at, and here's how it's going to look, we can actually take people and understand, and they will understand that journey very, very quickly. And within a matter of minutes, you now have a person that's completely emotionally invested into the journey. They now can see that pathway. They know that you're holding their hand and mapping them through this process. It also means that rather than trying to just see them, bill them $100, see you next week, you're doing everything completely ethical. You're very, very clear on the outcomes, right? You can clinically reason everything you do. You know you're doing everything for that client's best outcome and what they're wanting to achieve. And it also means that you can accurately say, this is going to take 6 or 8 sessions to get in place. Maybe it's going to take about 8 to 10 sessions. I think we could maybe be able to push it on this particular angle and do it in 5 or 6, but I need to be upfront and make sure we explain the pathway and the journey that you and I are going to take over the next X amount of weeks. And it's a very simple process. There's 5 little steps in this that we actually run through, and the proof was in the pudding with what we did with Veronica was her name we decided on. So what we did with Veronica was we actually put this into play straight off. Now, she went through 2 of our webinars. We sat down and did a game plan. She distinctly changed around her mentality in those initial assessments. And in 6.5 weeks, she now said to me only about just under an hour ago now, she literally turned around and she said, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I've cried myself to sleep. She literally said, I'm happier than I've ever been before, right? She has stability. She knows what's going to happen with her diary in the next 1 or 2 weeks. She gave me numerous examples of, this guy turned around and said straight away, fantastic, I understand what I now need to do with you. Let's book those sessions in. She's just like, mind blow. People are actually saying, great, let's book in like the next 6 sessions over the next 3 weeks and get this process happening. So now all of a sudden, she's showing people the pathway. There's a patient pipeline in place. They can see the start. They can see the end of the journey. They know very much what it's going to look like for their 3 or maybe 4 steps that we need to put into place for the client. And as a result, we can almost guarantee every single time a fantastic patient outcome. We can guarantee timeframes of what we're doing and how we're doing it. People get the outcome. They're super happy with what we're able to do, how we're able to show our authority and our expertise. And as a net result, we're having greater impact. Our business is strong, it's stable, it's growing. She has literally taken her SPEC, her sessions per episode of care, from 2.9, so on average seeing each new client 2.9 times, to 5.82. So she's literally seeing every client that comes in as a new client at least twice as many times. But she also knows that her adherence and accountability is way up I don't know the exact percentage. We haven't mapped it perfectly just yet. Right, this is only a 6.5 week work in progress, but she's also got all of their compliance and accountability up. She's got 100% satisfaction. In the last 3 weeks alone, she's hit 100% outcomes. Every single client is getting the outcome that they wanted inside that time frame that they set up originally. She's able to sleep. She's able to have a healthy relationship with her family. She's happier than she's ever been before, all because of one simple model and getting the right mentality towards us working with our clients in those initial assessments. So that's just one exciting story of how we are working with some of our clients right now. And I wanted to cut a podcast on it because a huge shout out to Veronica. I'll make sure I tap her on the shoulder and say, hey, this podcast is about you, even though it's not her name, because I think it's really, really amazing. But what is it that you could be doing in your business right now? Might it be team members? For some of those team members, we've got clients that have got 36 or 38 team members. Are there 5 or 10 of those practitioners that we could be implementing this with? That we could have simple little changes that could easily, maybe not double your business, but what if in a 6 to 8 week period, we could increase 20 or 30% by this simple model? Every time we install it into people's businesses, it absolutely blows their business up massively. Veronica is just another one of those. So what could we be doing with your business right now to get even better outcomes for your clients, have more impact and have a bigger, sustainable and scalable business? Answer yourself right that. If you want us to help, just tap me on the shoulder, send me an email, give me a phone call. I'm more than happy to help where we can. Because ultimately, like this sign up over my shoulder right here, we want to be able to empower and inspire the lives of 20 million people by the year 2025. We're well on track, but we've got a long way to go. So let us have greater impact. Let us help you, and you too can have a much better, profitable, scalable, and impactful business just like Veronica. I'll talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.